In the previous lecture, we looked at the output of the find command when searching for all .conf files. It was too long to fit into one screen. Now imagine you run the search command that found 100,000 files. There is no way you can find anything useful in the output when it is printed to the terminal. In this lecture, we will talk about Linux pipelines. A pipeline in Linux is a very powerful concept of combining or chaining several commands into one pipe to pass the output of the first command to the second, the output of the second command to the third, and so on. In our example of the find output, we can paginate it using a viewer like less. These applications are also known as pagers, because they are used for exactly this reason, to paginate the output. I'll now pass the output of the find command to a pager less. Find /etc -name. I'll search for .conf files. And now I will add an additional pipeline operator and pass the output to the less. Now we can navigate the search results easier. We could search using / and do other operations as we learned in the tutorial for less applications. The same thing we can do with text files. In the resources attached to this lecture, you find the CSV file. It is a comma-separated value file, as comes from the CSV extension. Let's look inside it. It contains a list of people in the neighborhood visiting different stores on days of the past month. It really doesn't matter what's inside this file. What is important is that it contains an unsorted list of entries in 3 columns. These are text fields, name and store, and a number between 1 and 31. Let's first print the content and page it using less. We will see the same thing as calling less alone, but you'll see later why we do it in steps. Let's now sort the output. We can do it using sort command. Again, the output doesn't fit into one screen, so we can apply the same trick and paginate it. And now I can navigate in the file. The output is now sorted by a string sorting function. In this case, the line with 19 will come before then the line 2. Let's try to see unique people who ever went to any store. For this we need to select just one first column of the output. Now we can do this using cut command. I pipe the output to cut. I will use the argument -d for delimiter. I will specify comma. And I want to print the first field, which is specified by the -f1 argument. I can also print the same line as in the original file by attaching fields 1, 2, and 3 this way, and it will print basically the same content as the original file. I can also specify the output delimiter for the cut command by appending an additional argument -output -delimiter, and for instance I want to use a space. For now I'm only interested in the first column. I can now sort the output, and now I can print unique lines by applying an additional pipeline operation unique. When you use the unique command, make sure that you sort the output beforehand. For performance reasons, it removes duplicates only in sequential lines. If we omit the sort function, we don't get what we expect to get. Let me sort the output once again. And now we can print the last 20 lines of this output using the tail command that we talked about before. -n20. Or I can do the same and print the first 20 lines using head -n20. We can also count the lines in the file using wc command with additional argument -l, or we can count the characters in the file with -c argument for the wc command. In this simple case with one piping operator, we could of course use the simpler form of the wc command, like this. Let's look at filtering the output. Let me try to find the lines in this file that are relevant for person Bob. We can do it using the grep command, adding this at the second pipe after printing the output. Grep Bob. This way it will find all the lines having text Bob in it. We can enhance our search by adding a more complex search pattern. I will now add the argument for grep in quotation marks, and you'll see in a second why. I will now add the OR symbol that looks exactly as the pipe symbol. Now this time I want it to be interpreted for the grep argument and not the complete line, hence I prepend it with a backslash, and add an additional text that I want to search for Jane. I close the argument with the quotation marks, and now it will find the lines that have either Bob or Jane in the line, or maybe both. We can now combine two grep commands in the pipeline and see in which days Bob visited only Aldi store. And with one more additional argument to the grep command, I can see in which days Bob visited all stores but Aldi, with a -v argument. Grep is a powerful command also in a sense that we can use regular expressions to match any occurrence of the text. I now want to find text that matches my pattern, which is B, any character, dot star, and B again. This will find mostly Bob, of course. We can also ignore cases by adding the -i argument to the grep command. I will try to search this way: B, any character, C. This now matched all lines that have B and C and any characters in between them, ignoring the case. Grep alone can also be applied to single files, and it has a few more additional options. I can also print the line at which the occurrence was found using -n argument. And I can also print the line that matched my text with the so-called context. I can also print the context of the line before with -b. And I can also print the context after the matching line with -a. As you saw now, grep can do useful searches and filtering the output. There are arguments for searches in the piped output, as well as files, and there are various options for pattern matching. Some of the common arguments are listed here. It takes time to learn grep usage, but once you master grep and regular expressions, you can make very complex patterns for searching in the file. This is a Swiss knife in piping operations, and you will definitely have fun learning it. As you saw, we applied multiple operators in the pipeline commands. You can combine as many commands as you like, applying grep, sort, cut, and other commands. The key point when using pipelines is that you build your pipeline step by step. This way you can see the output of each step, and you can even debug your pipelines. Sometimes it is convenient to make a small shell script with the pipeline you are creating. This way you can execute the script instead of typing all the commands again. In this lecture, we looked at pipelines of commands to make the output more useful for our consumption. All this time we printed the output to the terminal. In the next lecture, we will look at how we can print the output of commands and pipelines to a file and make output redirects.